Hi, welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And this is Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder. And today's episode is brought to you by Cake Maternity. Cake Maternity has spent over 16 years developing their range of styles, which include hands-free pumping bras, supportive nursing sports bras, lace plunge nursing bras, and skin-to-skin birthing bras, and everything in between. And we will hear more from our sponsor later, but you can head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. If you ever need anything, see if you can give any of our sponsors on our sponsor page any business, because they make this podcast possible. And while you're there, you can scroll down and you can enter your email address, and we will send episodes straight to your inbox every week. And we're on Patreon. And I just thought that it would be cool if we could have because before we were supposed to start recording at 9 and it's 9:22. And we've been talking about really interesting things for 22 minutes, like catching up on each other's lives and expressing opinions about certain things. And I just feel like we should record them. Sometimes we have a conversation. It was like such a good conversation. And I'm like, we should record this. And it can be like extra content on Patreon.
Yeah.
Like just throw it up there, because I told a whole long story about how we had to put my cat down yesterday. And then we were talking about Medicare. And then we were talking about, I can't even remember. We were so into it. We were just talking like friends, catching up. Anyway, I like stuff like that. And I can't tell the whole story here on this breastfeeding podcast, because it'll be you'll be like, I need to know about Latch, Abby, shut up. So I think we should put that stuff into Patreon.
We should.
Anyway, so check the link at the top of your show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from, and you'll see a link. And you could check out the different tiers, because there's different tiers. And I feel like if we do this, we should just make it available to every tier, because that's more fun. And we are also still hosting our ongoing giveaway for people who leave reviews around the internet, whether it's written reviews or stars. Just take a screenshot, send it to us at badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com, and we will send you a goodie bag of podcast stickers and thank you for nursing in public cards. And I did notice there was somebody who did this, just because people do this. So, don't feel free to do it, because people do it all the time. And somebody did it, sent an email, and I was like, oh my God, her name is, I don't know, I won't say her name, but her name is her name. And then afterwards it's DVM. And I'm like, DVM, that's Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So she says, great podcast. So much good information. Dianne and Abby promote such a sense of community for breastfeeding parents. And that's so sweet. And also shout out to all of the doctors of veterinary medicine and the vet employees and the vet techs and the vet everything. We have been through it this week. We had to put our cat down yesterday, and everybody that we ran into was an absolute godsend, kind, compassionate person. And just thanks for all the things that you do, because you are apparently listening, which is awesome. If you do that job,
yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you so much, because families really go through it with their pets.
I don't know how anybody, I have so much respect for vets, because I don't think I could do it with a sick dog or cat or hamster or whatever, I don't think I could handle it. I wouldn't be able to handle it.
I know.
Seeing all this animal.
It's I know. And seeing, because we had somebody come over to the house to do an in-home euthanasia.
That's
so that
good.
The kids could be there and all of that. And she was just amazing. She would just, it didn't take very long. And she explained to us everything that was going on. And she said, okay, and when he had passed, she was like, okay, he has passed. And she just left us alone. My one kid just kind of laid down and snuggled him, after he had passed, and was just holding him. And she just she just sat there and let her know when we were done. And so she took him, and he's going to be cremated, and because my kids wanted to spread the ashes somewhere.
Aw.
So it was just like, even she was just so nice, and she just goes around putting pets down.
Ugh,
Like,
it breaks my
ugh.
heart.
But she was so like sweet, and she was like petting him, and it's like a whole form of like just like caring for an animal. It's like that's like its own way to love and care for animals.
Yeah.
Like putting them down that way.
Ugh.
Anyway, see, this was part of the conversation we were having that we could record and put in Patreon, just because I don't know. I think it's interesting, and I like it to listen to conversations like this.
Yeah.
So to continue, we are still hosting that giveaway. So just send a screenshot of your review along with your address, badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll send you that goodie bag. And now Dianne has our review of the week.
And she says that we are the best breast podcast. This podcast is amazing. Not only has it given me knowledge to help work through breastfeeding challenges, the wisdom of the badasses provides reassurance that things with my breastfeeding journey are and will be just fine. Most importantly, this podcast has helped me to gain confidence in trusting my baby and my body's ability to nourish her. I love this.
That's so sweet.
Mostly, yeah, it's totally sweet. And mostly because it's like giving her the confidence. And that's what it's all about. That's what we want, for you guys to have the confidence to be like, this is working for us. This is working. Yeah. And that's really hard. It's hard when you like start something new, because that's basically what you're doing, right? You have a baby, you're starting something new. This is a whole new world for you. And it's hard to feel confident. It's really hard.
Well, and we don't feel confident, right? Because we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know what's going on. We don't know how to help. We don't know if it's right. We don't know if it's wrong. We don't know all the things. And when you have the information, you have the ability then to feel confident in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, I mean, like, confidence that's like
it can
a
change
huge part of the game.
You. Yeah. And it's so hard, even just as a parent, it's so hard to be confident.
Yeah.
Right. You never know you're doing the right thing. Am I doing the right thing? Is this right? Is this wrong? Should I change what I'm doing? Like, it's so hard to know. It is so hard to know. And what do? We turn to social media half the time, which is like the worst thing to do. But what other options do we have?
Yeah.
And it's so hard to feel that confidence. I mean, it's a lot. So I'm so glad if we could instill even just a little bit of confidence in you that what you're doing is a good thing, then we've done our job. So
absolutely.
I hope everybody feels a little bit more confident today after listening to this about latching, because this is one of the things that I think people don't feel confident about. And we've done a couple of episodes on latching before, but it's always good to revisit it, because I mean, people always call me and they're always like, I just don't know if my baby's latch is okay. I think our latch is not very good. And this way, like, if we kind of give you some tips of what to look for, of what's a good latch and what's a bad latch, then maybe it'll help you to be able to identify that a little bit better. And then you can say, we don't have a good latch. We need help with this, instead of just being unsure.
Right. Because the latch is like, this is where it all begins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't have a good latch, then the baby can't transfer the milk.
Right.
And then you're going to be like, oh my God, my baby's not getting any milk. Oh my God, I'm not making enough milk. Like, if this is like, you have to have a good latch. Otherwise,
you do
then like nothing else can fall into place.
It's a really important piece. It goes along with the feeding. Like, you have to have the latch to go along with the feeding, like Abby just said. And one of the best things to go with a latch, like one of the reasons why we know that the latch isn't good, is because there's pain. But not everybody has pain. But sometimes people are still like, I just don't know if this latch is okay. And one of the biggest clues, though, is pain. If you have a painful latch, then that is something that we definitely need to fix, because something's not right with that latch. And that's usually one of the first things I'll ask people if they're, they call, like, do you have pain? Because I think sometimes people don't realize that pain is not normal when it comes to breastfeeding.
Yeah, because like we just live in pain and we're told to get over it, right?
I remember just get over it. I was telling this story to somebody not that long ago, but one of my girlfriends, her kids are the same age as my kids, and we've been friends for a zillion years, like since Girl Scouts. And
Aww.
I remember her saying to me one point, like as our kids were older, she was like, remember when the only thing we had to worry about was like painful nipples? And that was it. Like that was that was the only thing we had to worry about. And now we have like these teenagers, and now we have to worry about all sorts of things. But
yes.
It's true. Like that's that's what you have. And you're like, okay, this is normal. This is part of breastfeeding. I have pain. No, it's not. It's not supposed to be like that. You're not supposed to have all this pain and bleeding nipples and all this other stuff happening. Like that's not the norm. You're not supposed to have that. So
no, despite what anybody tells you, because you'll be in the hospital and they'll be like, oh yeah, it's going to hurt at first. Don't worry, it'll go away.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, you're breastfeeding. You're going to have pain. No, you're not supposed to.
No, pain is like the number one, is like your body being like, this isn't right.
Yeah. So there's no reason why you should have to deal with that. So no, you're not supposed to have any pain. So what is normal? There is a little bit of normal pain that happens. It's not like forever pain. What happens is, what is normal is you might latch the baby and you might feel a little bit of like tenderness or sensitivity, but nothing that you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Like you shouldn't feel like that. And it should not last through the whole feeding. It should last like 30 seconds and that's it. And then you should feel nothing but the pull or the tug of the baby nursing, which is probably going to feel weird at first.
Yeah, totally.
It totally feels weird at first. But then you should feel nothing as you go through the rest of your feeding. You shouldn't feel pain. You shouldn't feel, nothing like that. If the baby comes off the breast, or if you take the baby off the breast, like the feeding is done and over with, if your nipple is flattened, or if it's like creased or like lipstick shaped, that is a clue that you don't have a good latch. And that could be that your baby is just not on as deep as they need to be. And what's happening is that they're compressing the nipple between their tongue and the hard palate. So we want to make sure that that's not happening. So we need to get a deeper latch for that to not happen. And you might not feel pain with that, because I have a lot of people who, like, the baby will come off the breast and the nipple will be a little bit flattened and be like, okay, did that hurt? And they'd say, no, it was fine. But we still want to make sure that latch is good. So there's certain positions that you should have your baby in. So for one thing, when you are latching your baby, you want to make sure that your baby is in a position where their nose is opposite the nipple. So we want the nose opposite the nipple, not the mouth opposite the nipple. So you would think, right, that I should have the baby's mouth opposite the nipple because that's where they're going to latch. No,
right.
We want the nose opposite the nipple. That way they have to tilt their head and open their mouth, which is what we want them to do. Their chin should go to the breast first. So like their chin kind of hits the breast and then their mouth goes onto the nipple. That is going to give you a deeper latch. And there's definitely there's videos out there and all that stuff that you can watch that shows you this. But I think even on our YouTube channel, I think I have something on there.
I think you do too. Yeah.
Yeah. We have a YouTube channel, everybody. I don't know if anybody knows that.
We don't put very much on there, but.
No, we don't put a whole lot of stuff on there, but there is some videos up there.
Yeah.
So you can check that out.
Demo stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Like demo videos and stuff. So you want to make sure that the baby's nose to nipple. And in order to do that, they have to be tucked back a little bit. They're not going to be high, like up in your arm to where their head has to kind of dip down. You want them to be pulled back so that their feet are back towards your back and their head is at the breast, but where their nose is opposite the nipple. That is your number one thing for latching. We want the nose opposite the nipple so that they can open nice and wide. Because a lot of times people will say, like, the baby's not opening wide enough for me. And that is one of the reasons why they don't open wide, is because they're up too high and they just don't they don't open their mouth as wide. If their mouth is opposite the nipple, they're just going to open up like a really little bit. We need to pull them back so they open up like nice and wide. Now, when they're on there, you also should be holding the breast. And that is another thing that I think parents are unsure. Like, do I hold the breast? Do I not hold the breast? Like, what happens with my hands? Mm-hmm. You should be holding the breast to kind of compress the breast a little bit so that the baby can get a nice, good mouthful of breast. And if you can take your hand away from the breast and it feels fine, the latch feels okay, then you can go with that. Otherwise, I would suggest to continue to hold the breast, because what happens is babies do not have the they don't have the strength. They don't have they can't like hold a lot of they can't hold a lot of like weight because they're little babies still, right? Like they can't hold a lot of weight still. So you have to kind of hold that weight for them. And the breast is heavy. So you might have to hold the breast for them. Otherwise it becomes a very shallow latch. So if you're holding the breast, because sometimes you feel like, do I have to hold the breast? Because then you have no hands free, right? Yeah. Like you got
it's
no
not
hands.
Forever though.
It's not. It's really only for the first couple of weeks until while
you'll
the baby
be able
gets
to tell. Sorry, I keep talking over you.
Oh no, you're fine.
I think you'll be able to tell when they're a little bit stronger and you can let go.
Yeah, when they have a little bit more head and neck control and they can support a little bit more weight, you can totally let go and it's fine. But it's also helpful to have your hand there, because then you can do breast compressions with your hand at the breast like that. So if your hand is kind of holding the breast up for the baby, you can also do breast compressions, which is really just like little massages to move milk down to the baby. So that is a really handy thing to do to kind of help keep your baby feeding efficiently in those early days when they're first learning what to do, because they need help. They just need help.
I know. It feels like they shouldn't need help. It's like breastfeeding is natural, but it's natural. It's biological, but they need a lot of help. Helping them is natural too.
Yeah, you're going to have to help them their whole lives. You're going to have to help them eat their whole lives. Like they just, I remember one of the lactation consultants I used to work with, she was so funny. She used to put things into a context that would be like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. But I remember her one time being like, walking is natural too. But babies need to learn how to do that.
Yes.
If your baby doesn't, if your kid doesn't walk right, are you just going to carry them for the rest of their life? Like that doesn't make any sense. You know, people be like, well, the baby's not breastfeeding, so I'm just going to go to a bottle. Well, we need to help them. Like we need to help them. And you're always going to have to help them when it comes to milestones, right? You have to help them roll. You have to help them walk. You have to help them do all these things that are part of their growth and development. And this is just one of those things you have to help them with.
And like you said, you have to help them with everything for the rest of their lives.
Oh my God. Do you ever?
I mean, they're, they don't know anything that they haven't been through yet.
No, they need you. They need you. So you have to kind of help them along the way. But let's take a break, and then we're going to talk about like what a bad latch is going to look like.
All right. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cake Maternity. Cake Maternity is a designer of comfortable, functional, and beautiful nursing and maternity bras. As mothers themselves, they understand that no two breastfeeding journeys are alike. They've spent over 16 years developing their range of styles. This includes hands-free pumping bras, supportive nursing sports bras, and lace plunge nursing bras, skin-to-skin birthing bras, comfy sleep bras, and everything in between. They also understand the changes our bodies go through during pregnancy and breastfeeding, which is why they cater 28 to 44 band sizes and A through L cup sizes. So regardless of your size, style, or whether you're breastfeeding, pumping, or both, Cake Maternity have done the hard work so you can focus on what's important, nourishing your baby. You can shop their entire range of maternity and nursing bras, clothing, and accessories. Yes, they have more. All of this online at cakematernity.com. That's cake like birthday cake, CAKE, maternity.com. And you can use code BADASS for 15% off of your purchase. And our sponsor for today and the promo code can be found in the show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from. Also at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com, you'll find our sponsors. You'll find our resources page. You'll find all of our other episodes, as well as information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne.
Yeah, people do it. I have one tomorrow, as a matter of fact, with a listener.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, very nice. Be figuring out what's going on with them.
Yeah.
So it's always good to see a lactation person, especially if your latch isn't good.
Yeah. Or you're wondering.
Or you're wondering if your latch is not good or not.
It's a lot cheaper than formula.
That's what I don't get that. Like when people are hung up with paying for a lactation consultant, but they're okay with supplementing with formula because formula is so expensive. So it's like, well, let's go to lactation consultant.
And like, what is it, to be very transparent? It's $90 for an hour consultation with you.
Yeah.
With like follow-up questions. If somebody says like, hey, I met with you yesterday. Can you clarify blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I totally do that. Yeah.
And you can help people file with their insurance to have it reimbursed.
Yeah. Yeah. We can see if your insurance will cover it.
And you accept like health, say HSA.
Yeah. HSA and FSAs. Yep.
And it's $90.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like it's not, I feel like you should get paid more. I mean, that doesn't seem like a lot to me to straighten out your breastfeeding journey. That's going to go on for like possibly years.
I know.
But like, oh, we need this $500 crib, which you're not going to use. I mean, you might use, but like, I feel like a lot of people are just like, oh, well, I can't afford that. But then we're just buying all this other stuff that we don't need. Anyway.
I know. I say that all the time because it definitely is one of those things that parents are like, well, let me see how it goes. And it's like, you're going to have questions. You're going to have questions. You're going to have concerns. It's just going to be like, I love it when people call me and they're like, I just want to make sure everything's going okay and we're off to a good start. Like, that's what you should be doing. You should be making sure everything is going okay and that you're off to a good start.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, you wouldn't consider, I mean, some people do have unassisted home births, but most people wouldn't like just have a baby and not like have some sort of professional look at the baby and be like, yep, everything looks good. The heart is working the way it's supposed to. The, body's growing the way it's supposed to. So why wouldn't we have somebody see if our breastfeeding is going well?
Right. See if your latch is good. Make sure your baby's transferring milk well. And that goes along with the latch. Like Abby was saying in the beginning, it goes along with the latch. If the latch is not good, the baby's not going to get as much milk. And then you're going to have a baby that's going to be eating more frequently or just not gaining well and not transferring well. And then
here comes the pediatrician. You need to supplement with formula because you're not making enough milk.
Right. And your body isn't going to make enough milk if your baby's not taking it out of there. So we need to have...
Right, but then it's not a low supply issue. It's a latch issue.
Right.
Sorry.
Exactly. No, you're right. There's all these things. It's like all this stuff. So a latch can make or break a breastfeeding relationship, whether the latch is good or not. So making sure the baby is in a good position. So we want that baby nose to nipple, like I was saying, good breast support for the beginning while your baby is still super little to make sure that the baby does not, because if you don't do the breast support, you might find that the latch becomes very shallow because the baby's not able to support the weight of the breast. Mm-hmm. So that latch might become shallow. Like I said, if you could take your hand away and it feels fine, then you're okay. If not, definitely support the weight of the breast for a little bit longer to make sure that your baby to help them along with that. we want the mouth to be nice and wide open on the breast, right? We don't want to see like a narrow mouth to where only the nipple is being taken in. We need the baby to, like, sometimes those babies will like slurp in just the nipple.
Mm-hmm.
No, we need to have the nipple, the areola, part of the breast. We need to have all of that in the mouth so that the baby draws the nipple back towards the soft palate. That's what they're doing. They're drawing the nipple backwards into their mouth, into the soft palate. And that is what makes it a comfortable latch. So we need to have that breast, part of that breast in there. If they're just kind of on the nipple, they're not going to get the milk that they need to get. And it's not going to be comfortable for you. That's going to be painful after a while. So making sure they're on good and deep. And when they're on deep, you're going to have a round nipple coming off. Like I was saying earlier, one of the clues that it's a bad latch is if the nipple is flattened or if it's like lipstick shaped. And that means the baby is compressing it between the soft or between the hard and palate and the tongue. They pull it back a little bit further, get them on a little bit deeper. That is where they're going to be comfortable. Like that's your sweet spot where it's going to be more comfortable for you. And then they're going to get more milk that way, and which is ultimately what we want for everybody involved, is for them to get more milk. So we've got a nice wide open mouth, which sometimes can be hard. Like babies, when they're first born, sometimes those muscles are really tight, and that's not your fault. Like that's just something that happens with birth, whereas, those muscles can be a little bit tight and they're not opening as wide as they need to. So sometimes doing little massages around their jawline can really help them to kind of open their mouth a little bit better for you. Sometimes they're just super tight, and it can really be helpful. If your baby is not latching, one of the things that I like to try to do, because sometimes just getting them to figure out how to coordinate themselves can be a little tricky. So sometimes they just need help with that. And one of the things that I like to do with them that you can do very easily is just let them suck on your finger. Make sure your hands are clean, of course. But I know I sound like I'm totally like a parent. Make sure your hands are clean.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands, but let them suck on your finger. Usually their middle finger, like pad side up against the hard palate. Let them suck on your finger for a second, and that will help them to kind of coordinate their sucking and swallowing and breathing. And that is something that coordinating their suck, swallow, and breathe can be hard for some babies to do in the beginning because it's a lot of work. Like that's a lot for them to figure all that stuff out.
All at once, doing all three of those things at the same time. Like we just do it without thinking about it. Although, who here like chokes on their spit?
Me?
I do all the time.
I know.
And I'm like, what is wrong with me? I can't even just like be alive. I can't just sit here and normally like without like, what is that? It's not even like when you're drinking or eating, which also happens. I mean, when you have something go down the wrong way, that's the whole coordination of suck, swallow, and breathe, all at the same time getting messed up with your grown self. But you have a little baby trying to figure this out.
I know. They're just trying to figure things out. They just got here. They're trying to figure out how to get their food. And they have to coordinate that whole suck, swallow, breathe thing. So helping them to coordinate their suck will help with that a little bit. If you find that your baby is like not latching, not going on, not able to kind of figure out what they need to do. And you'll know that because they'll go on and they'll come off, and they'll go on and they'll come off, and they'll go on and they'll come off. And that's because they can't figure out like how to get that suck swallow going. So sometimes letting them suck for a minute will help to coordinate them, and then they can go on a little bit easier. So that is something really easy that you can try to do if you have a baby that's kind of popping on and off and on and off without eating, without getting any really good sucks in there. Sometimes you'll see that a baby will like go on, do a couple sucks, and then pull off and swallow. And that's your baby not having that suck, swallow, breathe coordination as well. So some of this stuff just takes a little bit of time for them to figure out how to put together. And that is really normal for them. And they will get it. And I don't mean they're going to get it like weeks from now. Like they're going to get it pretty quickly, but they need to practice. They need to be doing it in order for them to get it. So letting them try getting them on the breast, helping them to kind of get a good latch, helping them with their suck piece by letting them suck on your finger for a minute before putting them on sometimes can be really helpful. Just to kind of like help them along the way, really, is all you're doing. Like you're saying, all we're doing is just helping them. We're just helping them try to figure themselves out. That's all. Now, when while they're on the breast, if they're feeding, then you got a baby that's probably dozing a little bit too. That's really normal. If your baby is like, because parents will call me, they'll be like, they just fall asleep. I put them on the breast and they just fall asleep. That is normal, especially in the very beginning, those first few days of life, putting them on the breast. Once your milk is in, that's usually better because then things are flowing a little bit better and babies tend to stay awake a little bit better for that. But if they're dozing a lot, that's where that breast compression, how I said before, like if your hand is at the breast and you're doing those little massages to help push that milk down to them, that's going to help them stay awake because you're pushing milk into their mouth. So that will help them to stay awake a little bit. That'll help them to, they usually respond really well to that. Switch them. You can switch them. You don't have to do that whole 10 minutes on one side, 10 minutes on another side. That is not something that is necessary. Let your baby feed until they're done feeding. And you'll know they're done feeding because they're just not doing anything anymore. And that could be 10 minutes. It could be 20 minutes. It could be 15 minutes. But if you're timing them, then they might not be able to get the milk that they want because you're timing them and taking them off the breast after a certain amount of time. We want them to feed efficiently. If you have a baby on the breast, say, for example, they're on the right breast, and you're doing breast compressions and they're starting to doze a little bit, you can move them. It could be 8 minutes. It doesn't matter. Try not to time them. Like really try not to. Watch your baby. Don't worry about what they're doing, like how long that they're doing it for. Try to kind of trust the fact that your baby will eat and we don't have to watch the clock for it, which is hard. Yeah. Because there's all those apps out there that keep track for you of how long your baby is on which breast and for how long they've been spending there. Those apps will make you crazy. So try not to put too much stock into all that stuff. Just watch your baby. Watch your baby and see what your baby's doing. You can switch them to help them stay awake. You can do breast compressions to help them stay awake. You can rub their hands. If you rub the palm of their hand, that stimulates a suck reflex, and that will help them stay awake as well. So there's lots of little clues and little things that you can do with them. You could take them off, burp them, put them down. Sometimes just taking them off and laying them down next to you, and then they're going to be like, what? I was just eating. What's going on here? And then they'll wake up. Take them off, hand them to your partner. Let them walk around with your partner for a minute. In the beginning, yes, those feeds can take a long time because babies are just sleepy. And for some reason, we want to rush the process and be like, just get them fed and over with. Just get it fed and over with. But there's so much going on with them. There's so much to it that it is going to take a little bit longer in the beginning. But that is not how it's always going to be. Your baby is going to become efficient and they're going to be able to feed and be done feeding in just a few minutes as they get a little bit bigger. But those early days, we just really need to be patient with them.
Try to enjoy that, because I hate it when people say that to me. But honestly, at least just like feel good, relaxing. I remember my husband going to work in the morning and him coming home and I'd be in the same spot on the couch and he'd be like, did you move at all today? Like, not in a judgmental way, but I'd be like, I very carefully went to the bathroom without unlatching him. Like, he'd literally be latched for like 8 hours. And I would just sit on the couch. I knew the entire lineup. It was like The View, Dr. Phil, all these terrible shows that I was just like getting all my guilty pleasure from. And you're working. That's, you're just letting the baby do what they need to do. And he would come in and out of sleep and he would just nurse and I would just sit there, and it's so hard not to feel anxious. And of course we're always so anxious and we feel bad about sitting around but I mean, enjoy it while you can, because you're going to have another baby and then you don't ever get to sit down ever again in your entire life.
You don't.
So you get to sit with the first one. That's all.
Put your feet up. Yeah, sit and put your feet up. And relax and enjoy your baby.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it comes down to. Do you have any more stuff to say about Latch?
No, I mean, one of the things that I would always do, and I think I've said this before, is I would like fish their lips out. Like once they got like a good latch, I would kind of pull their lips out, which I feel like then when they suckled more, it would go in just a little bit more because it would be a little, on the inside of their mouth.
That's a good point, because if they're, especially that bottom lip, the top lip, not as much, but the bottom lip, if it's tucked under, that's going to be painful. It's going to rub against your nipple and be painful. So you want to make sure, like you might have to tug their chin a little bit, make sure that the lip is flanged out. You want to see that lip kind of out against the breast so that it can form a seal. But that's it. That's all about Latch.
Awesome. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.